special guest for you tonight.
Hello, we've been expecting you.
This is not a test. Your government and corporate overlords have implemented new measures for your own health and safety. We are just following orders.
Everything is going to be fine.
I'd like to introduce...
Welcome to another If by Whiskey. Before we continue, Jake is in a very secret bunker in a certain country at whom we are in conflict, or with whom we are in conflict. So we have to be a little hush. He's got a little bit of noise behind him. So Jake, welcome. Are you okay? Are you safe where you're at? Blink twice if you're
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm gonna make it. There might be some drones overhead, but I think I'll survive.
Are you sure the La Quinta is not a terrorist organization in some way?
It very well could be. I walked in, the thermostat didn't work. I'm in Fresno, California, so that's already it's like the butthole of California. So I'm here on a work trip. Didn't want to miss the pod. Went to log in, and the Wi-Fi is like a 56K AOL dial-up. So I'm freezing and locking up, but I'm here. I want to be here, and I'm excited to talk to our guest today. I know we were trying to get her on last week, so I've been anticipating this one. Gonna bang out this podcast and then go try and find some dinner in this crazy town.
Well, good luck. Don't eat the bulldog. The bulldogs do not like being eaten. So in Fresno State there. So, but we do have a very special guest. They're tucked away, but we're going to bring her up very shortly. This has been a crazy week. I don't know if you missed anything else, but I'm glad you're here, Jake. You're going to be with us with this special guest and myself. You're going to meet her live in July, aren't you? I think you're coming to join us.
Can't wait.
All right.
Can't wait.
I actually I rented a luxury car, BMW 220 all-wheel drive or similar, just to drive to this event. So I'm going to be doing it in luxury. I even got the protection plan, so I'm going to be driving the wheels off of this mother. So hopefully
you don't get the or similar. Hopefully you actually get the 220.
I hope I get not or similar, because that's like a Volkswagen Jetta. Like they'll call that some kind of like luxury. So anyway, so without further ado, is Derek back? Derek's back. Welcome, man. We missed you last week. Where you at? There we go. All right. So without further ado, we have the president and CEO of FreedomFest, Valerie Leigh. We're going to bring her up. Valerie, welcome to If by Whiskey.
Oh man, it is so great to be with you guys. I'm like cracking up back here already just from the intro. So I'm really thrilled to be joining you.
We're so happy to have you. We're all about freedom and liberty. I want to start with one thing specific about Freedom Fest before we start into all the pageantry. You do this special thing where throughout the event you can buy is it an ounce of silver?
Yeah, silver coin, one of the silver dollars.
And then you all get up on stage and take a picture. So who can afford that this year? Because
oh my gosh,
since last year, prices have like tripled.
Here's what's hilarious is that over the years we have, by and large, most of our speakers come and they contribute their time because they believe in freedom. But every once in a while we have speakers who need an honorarium or something like that. And over the years, my dad Mark Skousen, who founded Freedom Fest back in 2007. So we're coming up on 20 years. He would pay people in gold coins. And we've had this conversation this year. He's like, that used to be a couple $1,000s. Now that's big bucks. I don't know if we can still be paying people in gold coins. So it is an investment. And I guess it'll make that silver dollar picture with Steve Forbes and Kennedy and all of our other luminaries. You get to come up and have a picture with them. It'll make it that much more special, I guess, since you're paying what is it today?
We're 75-28, but who's counting? I'm not at all looking at it. Every second sweating every bullet's like, is it on a dip? Is it on a soar? Where are we at?
Yeah.
So Valerie, before we continue, Jake, please pull up all the comments, because all these people right now in the comments are going to be at Freedom Fest, from my understanding. I think Terry's going to be there, Free, Amity. They're going to do the game show thing. It's going to be an awesome time. So tell us, what is this Freedom Fest thing? We had a guy named Andrew Heaton on. You might know him, comedian.
I love Andrew.
Right?
Yeah,
Mark invited him over. He had William Shatner. He shared a story 2 weeks ago about William Shatner meeting him at Freedom Fest at was it Planet Hollywood in 2013?
It was at Paris 2017. That was our 10-year anniversary.
That's it. He talked about horses.
That was a great year. I'm a big Trekkie, and I was so excited to have William Shatner with us that year for our Exploring New Frontiers theme. I personally ended up in the hospital the entire conference. I worked so hard to pull that thing together. I went into the hospital 3:00 in the morning on Wednesday. I missed the entire thing. They tried to kill me in one of those Las Vegas hospitals. So I missed Shatner, but I'm so glad that Andrew Heaton got to meet him. And Bill was amazing. He ended up wrestling my dad on stage. They did this like crazy, put your feet together, like wrestle. And, Bill Shatner's like 80 years old. My dad was in his 60s, I think, at the time. Shatner completely crushed my dad. Just was like, so those are the kinds of crazy things that happen at Freedom Fest. My dad came up with this idea actually when he was president of FEE, the Foundation for Economic Education, which is the oldest free market think tank in America, was established back in 1946. And my dad was president back in the early 2000s. And he kind of looked at what was going on in the liberty world. And he said, everybody's doing great work, but they're so siloed. Cato's doing their thing and Heritage is doing their thing and Reason's doing their thing. And nobody's really getting together and having conversation and sharing the work so that we can all get going forward. And my dad also comes from a background of being a financial advisor, an Austrian economist. And so he's been to a lot of investment conferences. So he has that background. He's like, let's do a conference, man. And so he brought together 900 people, some of the best think tanks in the world. Ben Stein was the keynote speaker that first year because he's quite an economist himself. He's an underrated, brilliant man. People might only know him from the whole Bueller thing, but that Win Ben Stein's Money show that thing was amazing. How brilliant he was. He was a speechwriter for Nixon and Reagan as well. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's also when Jimmy Kimmel used to be tolerable, was Win Ben Stein's Money.
Poor Jimmy.
True. But you have Adam coming, so
yeah. That's Adam Carolla's coming this year, but Rob Schneider's coming back, and we're trying to get him to bring a few of his friends too. So we're going to have a conversation with Rob soon and see if he can bring some more of his good friends from Hollywood. So yeah, the idea of Freedom Fest is that freedom really matters, and this is not something we can all just do on our own. The forces that are against us collude like crazy, and they gain a lot of power in that collusion. And the idea that we can take back our freedom and our power and fight for it without collaborating together, that we can't do it. So as much as we need our freedom in order to be individualistic and to have that individual freedom, and that's the goal, we actually need to collaborate and cooperate with each other. And Freedom Fest is a great way to do that. So it's 3.5 days of your year. We like to say it's 1% of your year. You come to Freedom Fest. It's an amazing conference that is filled with awesome keynote speeches from a huge variety of speakers, and not all just freedom people like Bill Shatner. We've had John Cleese. We've had Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. We've had Mike Rowe, and a ton of other people who are really interesting in their own right, who bring another perspective. And then we, of course, have a bunch of liberty heroes as well, politicians, great libertarian thought leaders, and kind of everyone in between. So then you've got breakout sessions, a huge exhibit hall that's just bustling the entire time, filled with not only think tanks and grassroots organizations, but also businesses who are doing important work in liberty. And then we have a bunch of fun stuff at night because, God darn it, freedom is supposed to be fun and joyful and exciting and not just doom and gloom. So we have our comedy show, our film festival. We've got karaoke, jam sessions, live music, dancing. Like, it's kind of crazy. And of course, then it's in Las Vegas. So
tell me about these jams.
Then you go out on the strip, and it's in July. We did that on purpose because it's hot out during the day. So you stay in the conference where it's nice and air conditioned, and then go out at night.
Yeah, and you give Palestine ammunition to talk about global warming, like she did when we hit 122. She's like, "Oh, in global warming," we're like, "It's summer in Vegas, Jill.
Yeah,
it's summer
hot,
in Vegas,
and
come
that's
on."
what it's supposed to be.
I want to know. I want to learn more about these jam sessions. So I'll give you a little bit of quick background. So Mark and I linked up just a few months ago. I started joining this show with him. I've seen the clips of previous Freedom Fests. I've seen Clint Russell. I've seen Massey. I've seen all the people that I tend to kind of to follow. I have zero expectations, but when Mark said, "Hey, we got to go this year," we got press passes. We're going to do our show live from there, and I'm completely excited to go. I'm bringing the wife and kids.
Yay!
And I have no expectations other than I know it's going to blow my mind. But you just said jam session, and I want to learn more about that.
Yeah. So that started in 2023 when we were in Memphis. And we ended up having a jam session on Beale Street on one of the most historic, bars, blues bars.
It was Randall, wasn't it? It was Randall, the constitutionalist. What's his name?
Randy Barnett.
Randall Terry. Didn't he come up and jam?
Oh, he did. He did.
Right?
That's right.
A couple years ago.
2024.
After the debate.
That was in 2024.
I digress.
That tradition that is now established. So this year it'll be Thursday night. We're actually going to do a jazz session first and talk about some of the liberty principles that are in jazz as it applies to an art experience, and then move that into a full jam session. So our house band plays, and then we invite people up on different instruments, and we'll go as long as we can go having our jam session.
Coming up.
You're definitely welcome to that.
I'm going to come play for sure.
Valerie, you crushed it with karaoke. We crushed it. What I forget that hotel it was at last year, but that was a good time. And there were we were Palm Springs, and there were like professional karaokeers from Palm Springs who met there.
Yeah.
And they crushed it. They were like all like they were dressed up and they had the whole like a whole choreography thing. I just want to pull this up from Derek only because we are an education show as well.
Please, good.
This is a very nuanced thing, but basically I'll share something with Thomas Massey, but he talked about the binary system being built into the architecture of the left-right, only the two-party system. Yeah. But that's a whole other thing. But we'll talk about that, Derek, for sure. Anyway, so Valerie, please continue. So you've got you had some crazy stuff going on. Oh, Jake, you had something going on.
Did you say professional karaokers?
Oh, that was in Palm Springs. So in Palm Springs, we took advantage of karaoke that happened in town already. They had a tradition of getting together and having a karaoke night. So we went to the Hotel Zoso where a bunch of our people were staying, and we participated in their karaoke and kind of took it over one of the nights. So when we're in Vegas, we tend to host it ourselves. So we'll do something in one of the cool venues there at Freedom Fest. And Ovens O'Brien and Bob Murphy started this years ago. They used to take everybody to Ellis Island in Vegas.
That's what we're going to go after.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
4 a.m. That's where I'm driving everybody after. If it's going to be at the Wheelhouse again, that's where we're going right after.
And then you go after. So the party doesn't have to stop at Freedom Fest.
Where Tupac got shot. Yeah. And then we're going to go to Ellis Island. So anyway, no. So Bob Murphy started that tradition?
Yeah. Ovens and Bob were the ones who started that tradition. And
and Ovens. Okay. Ovens will be there.
They love doing it. And so Ovens comes still when she's there. She helps us host and all that. So it's a great experience. And that's, there's so much divisiveness and gut checks and hand wringing and, with good reason. But again, what are we fighting for this and complaining and wanting this freedom for? Well, it's not to do more complaining and, freaking out. It's to actually have an enjoyable life and to be able to commune with fellow human beings and get along with them and be able to have civil discourse. Like what I love about Freedom Fest is that we are the example of what we want freedom to be.
Right, you are the liberty you want to see in the world.
Yes, we are the liberty we want to see in the world. That's
my quote is like, be the liberty you want to see in the world. It's like it's basically off of Gandhi, right?
So we're not afraid to talk about things. We have tons of debates and panels at Freedom Fest. So we'll talk about the war. We'll talk about ICE. We're doing our mock trial on ICE this year, and we've got some really great people who are going to come. Wayne Allen Root and Dean Cain are going to be defending ICE, and then we're working with a bunch of really strong libertarians to kind of come back and say what ICE is doing is, beyond a bridge too far. So we'll
Superman's
have that.
coming.
Superman is coming.
Superman's coming. We saw
haven't
Dean
announced
Cain. I
that
saw
yet.
Dean Cain. I immediately chuckled. Dean's an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy. I'll just put it there because but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to
really
watch.
fun. And that's, again, you're going to get some different viewpoints. And we've got Cenk Uygur coming this year too. So you got Dean Cain, Cenk Uygur. We're working on other people you may have already mentioned.
That was one on my radar was Cenk. I saw Cenk and I'm like, come on, you're going to fail upward, man. Come on. Get me on a panel with that guy. No,
I know.
It's funny how interesting. It's like this weird non-coalition coalition. It's just people who don't want to fight wars.
Yeah.
That's it. It's so simple. And it's such a large percentage of us that we're aligned with people that we wouldn't align with almost any other topic. It's amazing. It's amazing. And that's what's beautiful about Freedom Fest is you come for the ideas, the exchange of ideas. You had James Lindsay last year. I was able to ask him a question, and now we're using that against him now. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that we get to do. So we get to hold him to a fight. You know what I mean? Hold people to account. It's such a beautiful, approachable thing. And people like Brett Weinstein, you watch over the 2-3 years, I've seen him just transition into this very unique, nuanced character where he was certainly what I would consider like a vacuumist, I guess what do they call scholars, right? He's just more of a scholar guy versus an idea guy in a vacuum. But now he's seeing the value of this.
Now the things he's saying are so compelling, and he's really, you're right, he's formulated his ideas and given them direction, I think, in a way that he didn't have before. He came for the first time also in Memphis in 2023 and has been hugely popular. And we're interested in having him and his brother potentially. We're still in the early stages of planning. And so we have a lot of great confirmed speakers, but we're also in that place of lots of invitations out. And it's hard not to talk about them because they're really exciting. But I can't, Yeah,
until they're confirmed, right? Because it's the whole chicken and egg, and you got NDAs, and you've got,
but by the end, we'll be up to 200, 250. And that's what's so cool. I mean, for media folks like you, there's just going to be so many people you can grab and interview and have great conversations with. And that's one of the reasons media and podcasters love to come to Freedom Fest, because it's just like a treasure trove of content in those 3.5 days. But what I like to think too is that freedom is experienced in multiple directions. And we think a lot about political freedom. And of course, political freedom is incredibly important, but it's only one of the things that makes us free. And you can have political freedom, but if you don't have your health, if you don't have financial resources, if you, can't live your life, make choices, and expand yourself in the way you want to, you're really not fully free. And so that's why we look at freedom in so many different directions. And we do help people in the financial freedom realm. For example, we really are building up, making sure that people have the resources to make the choices that they want to have in their lives.
No, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay. Sorry. I thought you were, interrupted any moment.
Well, no, we get spark. Everything you say makes us so excited to talk about that thing every time. It's like we're shiny little object.
I'm stuck on this. I'm stuck on this thing where you're talking about this comedy show, and a lot of people you've invited that you can't talk about yet. And I'm just imagining us being there doing our show and grabbing Thomas Massey, grabbing Clint Russell, and grabbing maybe a Dave Smith. A Dave Smith to come sit on a panel. And I'm telling you, if you have a comedy show and a Liberty show, Dave's got to be there.
I know. He was our MC in 2021 when we were in South Dakota, when we escaped Las Vegas because Las Vegas was shut down. We tried so hard to have our event in 2020 in Las Vegas, and we got up to 9 days out, and they were 50 people in a room. Caesar's Palace had us satelliting the main stage, all these rooms. And ultimately it was just not possible. So we had to cancel. So the next year we didn't trust Las Vegas. and Governor Sisolak.
Yeah, you trusted Memphis to get stabbed. That like literally, from what I heard, that was an interesting a couple of trips that people took.
Yeah, you know, well, I think two things about that. Number one, you know, in this day and age, there are a lot of challenging places. It's challenging to go out. It takes courage to go out of your house. I think anywhere.
I was being hyperbolic, of course.
So,
yeah,
and
sure.
No, you
Mount Rushmore was when we went to South Dakota, Mount Rushmore was such a bucket list for people. And so we thought, well, if we go other places, what are some other bucket lists? So Graceland was one, and then, you know, different places. But I also love the idea of taking freedom to where it's needed and not being in our ivory safe zones, ivory towers, and behind our white picket fences, but saying, you know, freedom needs to be shared with the people who need it the most. And that was a little bit of our influence as well. It's like, even in Palm Springs, you know, going to California and saying, here's freedom, and will you engage? Yeah. You know,
California was beautiful. It was a great experience.
Does that mean we're going to do it in DC next year?
Say again, Jake?
Sorry, I'm saying, does that mean we're going to do it in DC next year? Because that's where they need freedom the most.
No, we're going to stay in Las Vegas for the foreseeable
freedom
future. People, I think we learned that Las Vegas just offers so much. It's not for people. There are people who don't like Vegas, but there are people who don't like every place, you know? And so there's no perfect place to have a conference like this. So what we focus on is making the conference the best we can. And Las Vegas does offer a lot of great things, such as tons of hotel options, tons of direct flights, great meeting space. And once you're there, you know, just tons of great food, entertainment. And you can go have a drink with your new friends that you're going to meet, who you can have a stimulating conversation with that really leads you to new thoughts, new ideas, new actions, new projects. And that's another huge thing about Freedom Fest. It's not something where you just sit passively and absorb boring information. This is activating. It is electrifying to go and sit in these sessions with the leaders of the liberty movement, whether they're in business or in the nonprofit world or in the political world. And you come away with new opportunities to actually infuse freedom into your life. So whether it's, again, in the financial freedom realm, or you go to our pitch competition and work on your entrepreneurship, or you come away with becoming engaged with a new organization you didn't know anything about, and now you're a member or you're getting involved. We've had so many projects jump out from Freedom Fest that have then had residual effect down the line and come back in. So people who come to Freedom Fest are excited to do something, you know, and that's electrified, just to be near somebody who's like, you find out what they're working on. You're like, damn, that is really freaking cool, you know? And
well, that was the thing. Really beautiful thing about Vegas. The beautiful thing for all the artists who are fortunate enough to have their girlfriends or have built their robot girlfriends by now, they can bring them to Vegas to hang out the pool with like my girlfriend, who I'm lucky as an artist to have a girlfriend, and Jake's wife and kids, you know. So this is the beautiful thing about Vegas, is we can all bring other people together.
Absolutely.
But what I love is this, like, this is the thing. We're such individuals in this entrepreneurial whatever, like, I got to do it myself. It's not about anti-collaboration, but it's like our perception is we have to do it or something. I don't know. It's a wiring.
I think there, you know? I have a theory that as the liberty movement, we have some serious limiting beliefs. And I think that we think we can't be successful. I think we think that we have to do it on our own. And, you know, that whole mentality of like, oh, if you grow up with the money mentality, that money doesn't grow on trees, and the love of money is the root of all evil. And these things, it keeps you in a mindset like, oh, I don't want to be wealthy. I think we have a similar mindset with liberty. We're kind of apologetic about it. We want to keep it to ourselves. We think it has to be hard. We think other people aren't going to agree with us. Well, I'm finding that if you find that commonality, that, like we were talking about Cenk Uygur, like there's a place where I probably can agree with a lot of other people on this planet. And if I start from that place, and I find a place of agreement. And instead of being divisive and labeling and hating on somebody else, I can say, you know, it's really interesting that you care so much about the planet, that you care about climate change. That's actually really admirable. And I see our planet as a beautiful, wonderful resource for us too. How can we work together based on our love of the earth? I see it as a thing, something that supports us and gives us so much, and we have this beautiful opportunity to use it. But frankly, I agree with you. We should be better stewards of our earth. We don't know for a fact that any earth like this exists anywhere else. We don't know for a fact that life like this exists anywhere else. And maybe we should be a little more mindful. So maybe I could work with somebody. It doesn't mean we have to shut everything down and stop sending irrigation to the farmers. And, you know, how can we work together to find that commonality that leads us to progress? And so those are the kinds of conversations we have at Freedom Fest that are really productive, and they don't devolve into just, you're a jerk, you want to kill old people, you know, you want to destroy the planet, stuff that doesn't get us anywhere.
Well, I'm going to say I completely get your point where you're coming from about limiting thoughts and that kind of thing. I'm the other way around, where I'm almost like probably too optimistic, because when I talk to people about liberty, I'm just like, why would you not want things to be like that? I can't understand why somebody would, what they seem like they're limited on kind of understanding like what real liberty is. And to me, it's like, when I sit and talk to people about it, I'm like, why would you not? How come you don't see it this way? It's not, I don't look at it as like, well, I hope I can break through. So it is an interesting point you have. And
that's why your voice is out there.
I hope so. But I'm looking forward to seeing the wide variety of people at Freedom Fest too, and seeing their different approach to it. Because I will say I'm less nuanced and I'm more straight ahead. And so I could probably do a little more practicing on the nuance, but I want to learn some other tactics and some other ways to talk about freedom from some of the people that'll be there.
We're planning some sessions like that. You know, it's kind of, we are partnering, for example, with an awesome organization. And I hope all of your listeners will go out and learn more about Principled Business. Principled Business is being run. It was founded by Alexander McCoben, who way back in the day, 20 years ago, started Students for Liberty, brought that up to be a massive worldwide impactful organization. Then he left there and started Conscious Capitalism with John Mackey, developed that organization. And then now he's moved on to running two organizations, Liberty Ventures and Principled Business. And Principled Business is all about bringing together the founders and business leaders who believe in capitalism, who use the principles of capitalism and freedom to actually run their businesses. And so he's bringing together this network of thousands of people who are now willing to say, hey, wait a second. All this vilification of business and capitalism, this is twisted. It's wrong. Yes, capitalism has challenges, as every economic system does. Because we're human beings, there is no perfect economic system. But these are advocates for freedom. And then you have somebody like Russell Gray, who has started this Raising Capitalists Foundation, geared towards teaching young people about the value of capitalism and how that is a power to unleash greatness in humanity and greatness in our world. And so these kinds of people who are teaching great principles, advocating for the implementation of freedom in our world with really tangible experiences. They're running pitch competitions. They're creating summits and people getting together and having certifications and things like that. These kinds of actions where they're not scratching at themselves and, oh, poor us, you know, nobody understands freedom anymore. They are also being direct and inviting people in and saying, hey, capitalism is good. Free enterprise is good. Freedom is good. Here are the actual principles. You may not know them. They've been a little distorted in the media and in Hollywood over the years. And so people don't have a great view anymore because we've kind of relegated.
It's such a simple thing. Like, debt is slavery.
I know.
Being indebted to anyone, being given things, means that they can stop giving you those things.
That's right.
That means you're beholden to them for those things. By eliminating that portion of it, you are no longer beholden to them by not being beholden to their things. It's so simple that it like hurts people's brains. I don't think they can unwind the programming from all the.
And we're not really teaching our kids any kind of civics or liberty principles anymore. That's been completely ripped out of our education system on purpose. It's also been ripped out of largely out of our art life, because Hollywood, whether it's in music, film, what's on Broadway, by and large has also been ripped out. And we have like negative perceptions of humanity and business and freedom. And so, and then you also see the divisiveness that's happening, which is really interesting because, of course, there's always been political discord, right? We can go back to Aaron Burr and all, and it's not like the founding fathers were all kumbaya in the Congressional Congress, in the Continental Congress, where they were like, yes,
I'm from Philadelphia. Wearing those wigs in that humidity in July would not have been fun. I can tell you 100% they would have been smelling in that thing.
Yes. And so political discord has always been with us. But what's interesting now, and I've been talking with people who are coming to Freedom Fest, the Privacy Academy, for example. We're going to have a big panel on why privacy is so critical to freedom. And if you come for any other reason just than that, understanding how critical privacy is to your freedom and your sovereignty. And we've lost that in so many ways completely. But for example, social media, AI, and the ability of our phones and all of that to listen to us. One of the things that's doing is it's pushing us down rabbit holes so that the algorithms are giving us more and more of what we're seeing and doing, which is actually causing a lot of more of the division because we're being pushed down our rabbit holes. It used to be that we all would listen to Walter Cronkite at night. And while Walter Cronkite had his view and his filter, comparatively, he was very objective, but he still had his view and his filter. We were all getting that news together. Nowadays, based on your algorithm, if you're getting your news largely from some source like social media, you're going to get a version of the SAVE Act, what's going on with the SAVE Act, that is not the same as somebody else's version of what's going on with the SAVE Act based on what you have looked at before. So we're getting pushed into more and more extremes and more radicalization.
Yeah, and to your point, here a great example would be like Ashley Babbitt on January 6th. And then you have the Pretty Good situations. And they're all examples of state overreach. But no one can take that step back because we're bifurcated as, well, these two did it for the good thing and these two were against the thing. But Ashley Babbitt was against the cops technically. So which cops were right? Which cops were wrong? And this is where we're able to take these steps back and look at things in a logical way and get a little bit more of the emotion out of the equation, I guess. So it's interesting. And I love that. Like I said, it's so interesting to your point is it's that thinking that we can only do it ourselves is really where I think we get limited is we are like, I have to do it because I don't trust anyone else because we've been burned because we look for those weird those weird, glitches in the matrix. Right. Yeah. So it's just an interesting way how we perceive and how you're able to put people who normally would never think about having the trust to get together, but creating a space that is inviting for people like that to share.
And what's exciting too is that it allows you to get out of the partisan bubble and into a principle sphere. And that is what is delved into at Freedom Fest, our principles. And we apply those principles across the board. So we'll look at an issue and we'll look at it from a principled stance instead of a partisan stance. So we don't use political labels at Freedom Fest. And I saw you had a mention, I'm a lost JFK Dem. So welcome to Freedom Fest,
Well, RFK Jr. spoke 2 years ago. So
RFK Jr. spoke at Freedom Fest a couple of times in the past. We've invited him this year as well. We're doing an interesting right to try section about the right to try medical innovation, which is getting pushed in Nevada. So there's a whole health track that we do as well. But I think what is super key is that this return to looking at things through a principled lens and understanding what key truths and principles are, and being able to start to let go. I thought it was so interesting what was going on in Minnesota, where there was almost like this sudden weird role reversal around 2A, because
Yep.
the person being shot is carrying a gun, and normally that would be something that all the Republicans would be defending. And oh my gosh, we have this switcherooski, and now the Democrats are supporting the gun toting. So to me, this is saying that principle is completely out the window in our two political parties.
Well, that's just further evidence too of you talking about the rabbit holes, because that's exactly what happened in that situation. Is the talking points came out right away. The people that had the position dug in, and then if you were on team blue, you felt this way. If you're on team red, you felt this way, and nobody looked at it through a principled stance and just broke down what actually really took place and made a decision based on that. And that's it happens all the time. And I mean, it's happening right now with the Iran stuff. I mean, it's
right.
You know, we wiped out their military completely, but now they still block the Strait of Hormuz. There's so many things going on that you don't really know where to get the information. So to your point, you have to just stick to a principle. It has to come back to what are my principles, what are my values, and you operate from that mindset.
We have to give up these cults of personality and cult of party, where I never.
Sorry,
never.
That's our old co. That's Jason, our my previous co-host, If by Whiskey. He actually named it If by Whiskey. He launched it. We had some weird collaborations in the past, but he's just saying it's all
the Democrats.
It's funny.
Oh my god!
So Jason, you need to come, man. You need to definitely.
I wish it could be that simple.
I know. So speaking of Iran, this is what's crazy. 2 years ago, Trump gets shot at. Last year,
the day I got engaged.
America bomb Iran. And I've got the funniest thing about that. I actually foresaw the Trump thing because I've got the Vuj woo-woo psychic thing.
Really?
I was talking to Leo Zaki. I was on his podcast, and I'm sitting there, and they're like, how can they get a hold of you? And I go, and it was the Friday before, and I go, I'm Mark Sean Poles. And I go, I swear I'm not an assassin. And I got this flash of like, and I'm like, I swear I'm not an assassin. I don't do anything like that. And it like blurted it out, and I saw like the thing, and then it happened next. I'm like, whoa, it's weird. That's a whole other thing. But what's crazy? So we had a bombing of Iran last year. What surprise do you have in store for us this year that we can?
I know. What will happen during Freedom Fest this year? Nothing. Nothing but good things. Nothing but good things.
Okay, good.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so you've been with us about 40 minutes. We're so happy to have you. Is there anything you wanted to share? Anything before we call it a day? You've been so gracious with your time. Any of the speakers or ambassadors or anything?
Well, number one, I want to specifically invite your listeners to come to Freedom Fest. Right now, we are in our tier 2 ticket pricing, which means tickets right now are $200 off of the full price. But I want to offer all of your listeners an extra $100 off. So if you use the code whiskey100 when you go to freedomfest.com, drop that in at the end. It'll be on the last page. It'll be like a promo code field. Also, guests are discounted. And for every friend you bring, you get another $25 off. And guests already have a discount. We have a student rate, so bring kids, bring especially young people. We're going to do a whole student program called our Bridge to Freedom program. We really feel like these student organizations are doing an awesome job educating students, but then how do we get them into the larger liberty movement? Well, Freedom Fest is great for that. So we're bringing graduating students to Freedom Fest and introducing them to the larger freedom world. And so Freedom Fest will be July 8th through the 11th this year. It's right after 4th of July with the big 250th. So here's what you do. You go to your big fireworks celebration on July 4th with friends and family in your community. Then you recover from that. You fly to Las Vegas. And that's where the real work began. Because let me tell you, The signing of the Declaration of Independence was not the culmination. It was the beginning. And there were some things that led up to that, but that was that moment where our founding fathers put their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor on the line to create an opportunity for freedom and independence for us. And in many ways, we have lived up to that experiment and actually expanded it. And in many ways, man, have we effed that up. And so at Freedom Fest on July 8th, we're going to have an anniversary public reading of the Declaration of Independence, which is when that actually happened. The first time the people heard the Declaration of Independence was on July 8th. And
very cool.
that is when the bells
is the timeline up at all? Was it more earlier in the day? Are you guys going to read it on the time?
I think it will be. We'll do it in the afternoon because that's when our general session kicks off.
Everybody's coming in on Wednesday.
Exactly. So. You're coming in on Wednesday. So we're going to have a massive, beautiful opening, including a public reading of the Declaration by somebody famous that I can't mention yet. And it's going to be super cool.
It's not me.
It's not Jake. I would love.
It's Jason. He's in our chat.
Step in, so we could have you step in. And then throughout the conference, we will be having ways to honor the past, honor the celebration, but also look into what we're going to have panels about the importance of the Declaration. About 1776, many things happened in 1776. The Wealth of Nations came out, rise and fall of the Roman Empire. There were so many things that happened, and it was a pivotal year. And 2026 is a pretty pivotal year too. So my big question is America poised for another 250 years of independence? Because most empires don't last more than 200 years. The Mali Empire lasted about 400 in Africa.
And the only reason Rome lasted as long as it did is because it kept expanding. I mean, the last 400 years were decline.
That's right.
At least, if not longer.
So we are at a pivotal point. And you know what? It's going to take courage. And I think it's going to take action. Yeah.
Absolutely. But to a point, I didn't want to interrupt you. Something you said a few minutes ago about Students for Liberty and having graduating people there. That to me is the biggest key to this and spreading this idea and this thought process, because most of the people I run into in the liberty movement are elder millennials or Gen Xers like Mark and myself. Right. And that's not a bad thing. But really, I mean, to spread true liberty thinking and liberty-minded ideas, it really needs to go to this younger generation. I think, I hate to say that they're in a specific place to receive this information because they've been screwed so bad by trying to go out into the world as young adults and having it all stacked against them economically, socially, to really, I think this is a really key time where this message really might resonate with a younger generation. And so I'm excited to hear that you're going to have younger people there.
Absolutely. We've launched a new foundation. It's called the Freedom 360 Foundation. You can go to freedom360.org. And we have 3 major initiatives that we think are not really being addressed in the liberty movement right now. Number 1 is this student engagement. We have Young Americans for Liberty, Students for Liberty, FEE does a great job, the Atlas Society, Young America's Foundation, the Turning Point. We have student organizations, but what happens to get them into jobs, into engagement, in that larger liberty movement? So we're creating this bridge to freedom, and we're working with organizations like America's Future, who are also trying to work on this, and Talent Market and others. So we are looking for support to help us bring students to Freedom Fest and help support them with scholarship and things like that. The other initiative is, thank you. The other initiative is.
So there's a website. I'll scroll through as you talk about it.
Thank you. So they're just right there next to each other. So the Bridge to Freedom program, bringing students to Freedom Fest, helping them get jobs in the organization, get involved with other organizations, learn more about freedom, establish themselves so that they can become the next vanguard of leadership in the freedom movement. to actually help us achieve that in greater and greater capacity. The other thing is in the arts, and we alluded to this earlier. We have woefully relegated the arts to people who don't understand freedom. And the problem with that is that arts are a very compelling experience, human experience, part of the human experience. When you experience something artistically, it has the power to change it creates an emotional experience that helps you create meaning out of something. And out of meaning is where we create our belief systems. And it's out of our belief systems that we create our behavior. So when we keep giving people experiences like Avatar, which was, for example, years ago when the original Avatar came out, there were people in therapy groups who were so moved by that experience of seeing these alien people so in tune with nature. There were like group therapy support groups for people. That was a hugely emotional experience. And what was the message of that? Human beings are terrible. Machines are terrible. We do terrible things to people. We kill, we destroy. And there could be a cautionary tale, but not at the expense of, you are terrible for being human. That is a terrible message.
It's kind of hard to like, you should feel shame for how you were born. It's like, wait a minute, isn't that the whole point? Is like, you're born. So if you're born human, how could you, it's the same point, right? It's like,
well, shame on you for being born a human.
Exactly.
So we need an avatar that moves people that much towards freedom. And not in a preachy, like cutesy kind of way. Like, we need real art. We need Robert Heinlein level literature. We need movies like Cool Hand Luke or V for Vendetta. There are movies out there that embrace these themes. And that's why we have the Anthem Film Festival that's been around for 12 years to support movie making that supports liberty themes. But we need this across the board. And so we are inviting people, creatives, to start making great art, start writing great books, start making great paintings and visual art and memes and graphics and whatever you want to do. We need the libertarian Banksy. We need the we need the libertarian Hamilton. Well,
what I loved 2 years ago, the Freedom Fest was it was Brave New World.
Yes.
And you want to talk about a book, and I like audiobooks, but I actually had the privilege, was it Michael Caine, I think, read it.
Oh, very
so it was like pretty cool because like it's a voice but the way he plays with it, you really get in, for a book, you really get into like the feeling it. And you go to this and it's like you had the cautionary tale, and then you had, but the light is what's the other side of that? How do we avoid that and stuff? And it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
the dichotomy.
These visionary writers and filmmakers and musicians, music is so transformative. We need powerful music, good music, high quality music that changes our souls. And
good luck, AI's taking that over. But the good news is 90% of the libertarians are into music. Jake, you had a band. We've got Mad Dog has a band. We got ANCAP Tim. I mean, most of these guys are putting out music now. You guys just recorded, Jake, for 3 days. So it's like pretty
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, wow, that's so cool. And that's what we're trying to build up to have, like a music festival component. So we're looking
we just did. And one of the songs we just wrote in the studio was a very freedom-minded song. I mean, very.
See, it just came out of you, right? It wasn't like, I'm going to write a freedom song and teach everybody about freedom. No, it came out of you. It was part of your muse,
I'll share it with you.
Thank you. Please send it to me. I'd love it. So that's where we're going. And then the last component of Freedom 360 is to support all these nonprofits out there who are doing great work. Make sure they can come to Freedom Fest, go to other events, and be supported so that they can do the great work that they're doing. And so we're really proud to launch that. We just got our IRS approval. It's the only time where you're excited to get IRS approval on something.
I just filed today, so yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So I'm going to share this as well, Valerie, before we call it as well, because I want to share the Freedom Fest screen itself. So this is freedomfest.com. So you want to share a little bit, just kind of a little bit of overview again about it before we do call it, because we'd love for our audience to hear about it. And once again, Whiskey 100, $100 off, guys. Whiskey 100.
So just come to freedomfest.com. We're actually going to launch a brand new website. I was hopefully going to come out last week, but we're going to launch it here shortly. But there's a lot of great information here. Click that blue link up there, register now, put in your Whiskey 100 to get an additional $100 off the current discounted rate. And we have some of our initial speakers. If you scroll down, our theme is Think Independent. Here are some of our speakers that we do already have confirmed: Steve Forbes, John Mackey, Kennedy, Adam Carolla, Rob Schneider, George Gilder. Clifton Duncan is going to do a one-man play based on Thomas Sewell. Naomi Brockwell's coming to talk about privacy. There's a bunch of other speakers. If you click on there, Del Bigtree is coming back. Spike Cohen is coming.
Please don't get mad at me, but Naomi, come on, just the voice alone. Hello.
Oh, I know, right?
Hi, Naomi's going from Reason TV to Australia. Just that alone, just engaging. Anyway, sorry. Our please continue.
Banquet this year is going to be the Independence Ball. We're going to blow that out of the water. Mark Elliott's coming back. Eric Erickson's coming and is going to do a bunch of debates. I mean, Andrew.
If I remember, Mark Elliott wrote the Quintessential Eagles.
Yes, he's
biography,
written so many great biographies.
I met him in Palm Springs. Okay.
He's really, he was with us in Palm Springs too. Jennifer Grossman is coming. Andrew Main. We're going to have a massive thing on AI. And so this is all Mark Lichtenfeld, who is the chief investment strategist for Oxford Club, possibly the greatest investment club out there, is going to be with us. Grover Norquist. I mean, really, the list is quite amazing. So you will not be disappointed. And again, this is just the beginning. We have about 200 more.
Right. This is just the people that are confirmed. We haven't even scratched the surface. I'll admit, like, Michael Shermer's an interesting one because, like, he's a skeptic. So, Jake, that would be really interesting to try to get Michael Shermer to talk, because obviously,
absolutely, and he's very available. He's going to do a couple really cool debates. We'll have 150 exhibitors, a ton of media. We're this close to making sure the Freedom Truck is coming from PragerU. They want to bring it to us.
Sorry, he did it. Jason did it. He knew the pain point. He knew it. He knew exactly which guy he was going to throw in our face. I knew he was going to do that. You son of a gun. Jason knows us so well. Let's say. Right. Please continue. It's just one of those things. Just
yeah. So I think what I can promise everyone is, number one, there will be something of not just interest, but of great interest to you. We've had so many people come to Freedom Fest where it completely changed their lives. They've met someone, they've learned something, they've changed in some way, that they can point to coming to Freedom Fest as a massive turning point in their lives. Yeah. And
we agree with Chank. We found that out.
I've been agreeing with Chank more recently. So, and, we get pushback on a lot of people sometimes. How could you have so-and-so? They're not libertarian. Well, we've had people come to Freedom Fest and actually learn from being, socialists and this, that, and the other. We've got to learn to engage with the people who don't agree with us, or who we think they don't agree with us. Find that common point. Do what Jake does. And I think it sounds like you really are willing to sit down and talk through with people what the principles are and, what the advantages are. And so if you don't feel like you have that ability to talk through, you can learn that at Freedom Fest. If you want to have experience with other like-minded people, they're there. If you want to get your ideas challenged, you can have that opportunity. Debates, panels, workshops. You will come away armed with more ability to live a freer life as a result of 3.5 days of your year. So
that's beautiful. And this is William. William's going to be on our show on the 8th of April, everyone, in 2 weeks. The exhibitions, I'd like to start off, if I may. If you have children at all, you don't have to bring the children per se, but go to the booth with, was it Clint? Is it Boyer?
Tuttle Twins.
Tuttle Twins,
They're
right?
in conversation with Tuttle Twins. They're launching
Tuttle
a bunch of
Twins.
stuff.
Could you
Mhm.
share a little bit about the Tuttle Twins? Because like that's how they came on my radar through the first Freedom Fest. I'm like, who's
Yeah.
what is this thing? And it was just really interesting how that's really where you start
Yep.
is with the youth and just a younger perspective and like animation and really so. I love for like, and then some of the exhibitions, if you could as well, for William and some of the other people will become Whiskey
Absolutely.
100 guys, $100 off.
So that you're right. Connor Boyack was coming to Freedom Fest and had the idea for Tuttle Twins and launched that. And they've come back many years, and we're in conversation with them to come back again this year. They're doing a whole bunch on America's founding this year that they want to present. And they're an amazing group. We have a lot of other education groups based in homeschooling and Liberty Home Tribe, several other education groups that are awesome. Educational Ed Choice comes, Free to Choose. It's just such a fascinating group. Education is on fire. I think the pandemic really unlocked a lot around education. So we'll have a ton of organizations related to change in education. We also will have a lot on MAHA. We've got a ton of organizations coming to talk about health freedom, and Del Bigtree and several other speakers will be addressing that issue.
Jitna group. I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, they're coming.
I don't want
and
to pronounce it. Is that correct?
I always say it wrong. True. I say it the wrong
but
way.
Like
so.
basically, they're turning around type 2 diabetes. They're talking about all this.
Oh my gosh!
Amazing
and
stuff.
they're doing the clinical trial. You know, they're dosing people, and they're getting results for type 2 diabetes like crazy, and Parkinson's disease. Those are the two major ones that they're really impacting now. So what's interesting about JITIA is that they are working in Nevada to make Nevada a right to try state. And they're really going up against what the FDA has not allowed, basically. Technically, you have the right to try an innovative medical procedure if you've exhausted all other options and you are looking at a terminal illness. It's been used something like 18 times total in 35 years.
That's awful.
That's
with
terrible.
stem cell and placebo, all those
They
other
just don't allow
amazing
it.
therapies.
So technically,
Right.
it's on the books.
And
but
the
they
federal government is
never
taking that
actually
over.
authorize
Once
it.
again, the 10th Amendment, that's like, it seems like a state issue, doesn't it? Like the state
Right.
should be like, hey, it's the state's right to whether you could try or not, right? Let them decide that. Interesting.
Thank you.
Valerie's giving you a real-time invitation.
I'd love to give it a try. Now, what's interesting about this is Spike Cohen is planning to work with you guys to bring the show, Are You Smarter Than a Politician, to Freedom Fest this year. And we're going to make that all
Correct.
part of our comedy kind of festival and, you know, aspects. So we're really excited about that. And I need to get back with Spike and Brian to work with you to make sure that gets all set up and confirmed. So
yeah, Brian and Spike, they had a whole launch thing. They did was it like a telethon thing, raise a bunch of money.
That's awesome.
15 people. Larry Sharp was there, obviously another ambassador. Spike Cohen was on. A bunch of people, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna have that live at Freedom Fest. That's gonna be a real hoot. We're also working on actually having a full comedy competition at Freedom Fest this year. We've had our comedy showcase that actually started with Dave Smith back in 2021 in South Dakota, and it was like Dave, Lou Perez, Grover Norquist, and I think Brittany Hunter was
Lou's
our very
great.
first year.
Lou-
It was
Lou's
awesome.
great. And just so you know, we mentioned Rob Yates. Derek asked about Charleston, South Carolina. That would be Rob Yates. Rob and Lou Perez are good friends too. So just so they know each other.
Love Lou, and he's been working with Rob Schneider, traveling with him, and Lou is helping us build out this idea. So we're going to invite Liberty comedians and give them a chance for their 10 minutes on stage and do a whole competition, and just like we do with the film festival, and kind of have our champion libertarian comic coming out of Freedom Fest. So if you love comedy and think satire is a very important way to push back on statism, that's going to be for you. More of our organizations. So we also have tons of our think tanks and grassroots organizations like AIER, FEE, Reason. We're in conversation with gosh, it's like so overwhelming. I will have sometimes 10 meetings a day just with all of the different exhibitors coming to Freedom Fest. Lola is coming. And like I said, Privacy Academy. So we're building Freedom Fest out with these pavilions. So we have our free speech and ideas pavilion where all those groups will be with our big debate stage. And then we'll have our financial freedom. So we've got a ton of investment opportunities, wealth building, financial planning, all of those kinds of organizations in our financial freedom zone. And then in our entrepreneurship and innovation zone, we're going to have groups like Hive, Principled Business, and some of the AI things and business marketing, optimizing.
And I've had Frank Holmes on twice from Hive. So
I love Frank Holmes.
Frank's phenomenal. He's such a great
really
guy.
Is. I'm so glad.
He's like the best guy to like sport a ball cap. He can wear anything and he has a ball cap.
Here, and then he's just
it's really interesting, but he rocks it.
It works. And then in the Bridge to Freedom area, we're going to have America's Future, Students for Liberty, Talent Market, and a bunch of the other groups that are really geared towards students and young people. And then I never know, PragerU, Marissa Street's coming to talk, and they're hopefully bringing their freedom truck if we can find the right place to put it. And so honestly, we'll have the exhibitors up by the end of next week and we'll end up with a goodly number there. So it's always fun to put together the exhibit hall.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have any other questions? It's been awesome. Valerie, a whole hour. Snap. Just like that.
Like that.
How quick. We just have a great time. We're
I know.
so thankful for you to come and join us and share this. Whiskey 100, $100 off. Everyone just jump on. FreedomFest.com.
July 8th through 11th. Bring the family. They can come in and have sessions, go to the Freedom Truck, go to Tuttle Twins, and then there's so much fun family stuff at in Vegas too. So it's
my non-autistic partner will be at the pool at Harrah's. I think we're at Harrah's the whole time. So come on by the pool.
Yeah. Our hotels are Harrah's, Link, and Caesar's Palace. The actual conference is at Caesar's Forum, which is on the back side of Harrah's. And what's great is you're right between the High Roller and the new Sphere. And it's just like kind of the high end, kind of cool, new up and coming side of the Strip. But you have access to the Strip right away in the Link Promenade. There's tons of eating places there.
There's an In-N-Out. You can't go wrong. I mean, it's right
an
there.
In-N-Out. That's right.
So.
There's
a hot dogs, I think, from Terre Haute. Anyway.
And fish and chips and
Buddy V's. It's like my second home, unfortunately. I was there the day they shut it down. There's nothing like looking on the Strip and not seeing a single car.
That's wild. Oh my gosh.
We saw a guy learn how to drive a Lamborghini. He started the rental and he was like real bad, and you could see him like really screw up the gears. And then like the fifth or sixth time through, he was flying. There was no one else stopping him. There's no one there to stop him. So
they do their Formula One stuff there now too. Down
yeah, I know.
Pretty cool.
So, Jake, do you have anything before we call it a day? Once again, it's been another If by Whiskey. Valerie Leigh, President and CEO of Freedom Fest. Thank you again for joining.
Thank you, Jake. Any questions?
No,
do I get a rating?
I'm really excited to go. It's 10 all the way. I'm staying at Caesars, so I'll be close to everything.
Good. Yeah, Caesars is so fun.
I'm really looking. I haven't been to Vegas for probably 20 years, so I'm looking forward to going back.
Oh boy, you're in for it.
I used to go 20 times a year, so I know.
You know it very well.
It changes that much even between those times.
And that Area 15 is really cool. So if you get a little extra time, you take an Uber out to Area 15. They've got some amazing. They just started a John Wick experience out there. They've got a Mega Mart out there. So
Omega Mart.
Meow Wolf. So they have the Meow Wolf out there. It's called Mega Mart.
And they got a new jet they just installed, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So Area 15 is really fun for the family. And we're also I have to let you guys go, but we're also trying to put together a gun event at one of those machine gun go up in the helicopter.
Oh, very cool.
So for people who come in early, we're trying to put that together too. So
it'll be Maj stamped, Maj Touré's helicopter tour. Black
my
helicopters
God.
matter.
I'm in for that. I'm in for that.
Yeah,
in.
right.
We're totally in for
Super
that.
fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
And you can shoot machine guns in Vegas. They're all over the place. So I can send you to all those places. But Area 15 is great. All of them are great. So
Yeah.
Valerie, thank you again.
Thank
so
you.
much for joining. Jake, any final words before we call, my friend?
I'm gonna have my itinerary packed completely. I'm gonna definitely break in and take over the jam session on the drums.
Yay.
It's good. I'm gonna leave there with a ton of new content for the show, some new contacts, people to talk to, and I'm gonna network like a mofo. That's my thing.
Just don't plan on sleeping.
It's Vegas.
Don't
Why
plan
would
on
you
sleep.
sleep?
Vegas.
And
Thank
Top Golf
you guys
is
so
fun.
much.
There's one at MGM there.
Top Golf is a lot of fun.
So, well, everyone, this has been another If I Whiskey. We got Freedom Fest, July 8th through the 11th. Everyone driving home with a headache or flying home on the 12th on Sunday. That's all you got to do.
Be worth it.
We'll have brunches. We'll have dinners. We got now before we go, I do have to plug this because hopefully just someone find Jimmy Carr. So Jimmy Carr is performing in Vegas on the 9th and 10th of July. I think I shared that with you. We have to get him here. He's like literally evaded taxes. If there's anyone who should be
Matt
on
is
the
trying to reach
showcase,
out to him to get him to
it
come.
should be Jimmy Carr. So I'm just letting you know, just that is one that I
If
saw.
anyone has a
because we were gonna
connection,
see him on
send him our
Friday
way.
night.
We're trying to reach out to him. So that would be great.
Absolutely. We'll do everything we can. But everyone, thank
Awesome.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been such a fun one. Valerie, this has been so great. I got a personal text in the meantime, by the way. The background of the plants, you got a green heart from my girlfriend. So she loves the plants. She's like, oh, that's all I need to know about her. I'm like, you met her last year at Sosa. So but she just loves that. So
thank you.
Jake, anything else? Say goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Bye,
all right,
everybody.
Stick around, Valerie. We're going to talk to you on the back end.
Sounds good.
But everyone, this has been another If by Whiskey. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Wednesday night. This has been If by Whiskey, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Subscribe to If by Whiskey. Fuck Liberty
thank
Lockdown.
you.
Subscribe to this show.
No, come on!